That top button there.
Okay.
Just press
Audio's
record.
recording.
And so you
Okay.
just do it, yeah.
Alright,
If you were working at
put cameras on now, boys.
which was
If
probably
we can keep all the
10 speed
sound effects off just as we do the
have the
intro.
most careers. So
You're a
Just
lawyer,
control
you're at a
thing.
court
Yeah.
case, you need a document to go here, get
Printing.
signed, come back. They'll feedback,
I'm lowering
feedback,
my level.
feedback, feedback,
Okay,
feedback,
sorry.
feedback,
Feedback,
Stop
it's a
all of you.
musette.
feedback, 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 feedback.
You hit
Okay.
the donger.
We're
Feedback,
back.
feedback, 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 feedback.
There's like a bunch of
feedback,
kids
feedback.
here. really is. And I love it. Have I got a sound effect that does? No, that's the voices. No.
Crickets.
Applause. Okay, Dave Mott. Dave Mott. Take it away, Dan.
Okay, so
Photography things in the Rat, and then moved to Adelaide and went to that Marble Hill Slalom and just went, cool, we'll get some photos of this shit.
How old were you?
I was 12. No, this thing. No, it was 20. What was I? Took time to do all that stuff.
That was the only way to show a photograph of a mountain biker was the process of taking the photo, getting the film, producing it in a dark room, and
yeah, just it's good to, just had the black and white film.
Pioneer
A
Women's.
Had the dump track,
mountain
which went up
bike-
the guts.
a mountain biker hadn't
Dude.
cut any tracks
Nah.
yet. This was you were just riding
Yeah.
what was in front of
Photos.
you,
yeah,
and you
walking
found what
trails.
was in
Walking
front of you, and
trails.
you rode it.
So fire trails and walking trails. So the number one spot to hit was obviously closest, which was Clearland and Mount Lofty, right?
With me, I did bring a bunch of souvenirs from various alley cats put on by the Lopez dynasty.
Dude, what's an alley cat?
Okay, so yeah, we had...
How many of these cards would be available in one event?
Only one.
Only
Yeah,
one.
Yeah. And, the Lopez dynasty puts on a bunch of alley cats over the years, and then hit the link in the description.
Hit the link in the description. We're going to work out how to link in the description,
gonna-
everybody.
Is
this
there a
is
link?
going to be. There will be a link. Well, there might not
Yeah.
be.
No,
but
there-
hopefully there will be.
Dan
Is there a link in the
Courier.com.
description?
Eventually we'll get to a point
Assault
where you can go
magazine?
like, you
Shady
can just hit the
idea,
link
man.
up here and it'll just appear.
Point to it. You mentioned someone in there, Dazzle.
Papa
Who's got a
Smurf.
Dazzle story? Darren Moore. Is he not one of the original godfathers of the downhill mountain bike scene in Adelaide?
They're all, but Whitlocks and the Marshes. Yourself,
Well, they turned
Zolly.
into mountain bikers, but there was other guys. Holmes, Gary Patterson.
Holmes was like prevalent, big time. Gary Patterson,
Pato,
obviously.
of course. Yep.
We drove up here to see the race, or we
Dan,
drove the
I
guys
might have-
up
I
here.
might- sorry, I might have just have to say, Dan, I think that music's that's annoying. Okay, yeah.
So,
Sorry.
yeah.
I reckon I would have switched off a while ago, but I'm still here.
Hey man, if you can get
I switched off hours ago. So,
No.
met some good blokes, and I don't know, just it's a good camaraderie in the scaffolding world. We get to fart at each other, and once you get farted on, you can fart on someone else. So once that's
Those benefits. Okay.
passed on, oh whacking day, oh whacking day.
Actually, we're performing this in a car park at Seacliff. If anyone wants to come down and say hi, we just erected the black sheets. We're actually just in the car park though.
Any cadavers.
People walking past.
And we've got heaps of fucking giveaways right here, right now. Come down.
What are you giving away?
Get your out and we'll give it away.
His virginity.
This is a now. Before we start, that just reminds me, Zolly. What are your guidelines? Or you have no filters?
Yeah, look, it's not.
I mean, you can hit it in the editing suite anyway.
We don't want to turn people off.
Exactly.
You've
been warned.
I better leave.
No, we're all good.
Enough with the potty mouth, else she'll be kicked out.
Yeah. This is not tubular.
We're still.
Recording. If we can concentrate and just turn your stuff off for a second. Just
Keep
stop.
that off the record.
Like, bloody bunch of children here.
Keep that shit off the record.
Don't start, man. Camera's rolling.
Is that okay in the background?
That's good.
Cool.
I think this is it.
Enough molesting the mics, Elliot.
Okay.
You molested
people,
the mic.
Oh, what?
it's hard to know where to look here. It's a little bit, there's a lot going on, but here we are. Volatile Revisioned episode number 10, and we've upped it from 2 to 4, and we have a pretty cool crew of people here to talk to us tonight about the origins of the oldest mountain bike club possibly in the world, but definitely in Australia.
Yeah.
Rick Iola, Glenn Holloway, Courier Dan, welcome.
Cheap.
What's up?
Glad to be here. Well done. Kudos on all your efforts. Love your work.
Okay, first question. I'm going to go straight to you, Iola.
Yeah, what's up?
If you could be an animal, what animal would you be and why?
Animal. Shit.
Let's turn it down a little bit down.
I don't know. I'd like to be a monkey.
Something with
Alright.
skinny ankles.
Fair enough. And
Why?
skinny wrists. Fair enough. I can't fly, but monkeys can. They try to fly.
Oh,
So I take a monkey. Because you've seen those guys scale trees. They're like agile. They're
Steal
cool.
food.
They're like feisty. They're
Mischievous.
mischievous. Yeah, I'm sure they might scratch up little insignias on trees or something like that. Sounds kind of cool. I like
Monkey.
monkeys. I'm down with the monkeys.
Killer. Monkey.
100%.
Holloway.
Yeah, I mean, they put their scent everywhere.
Oh, definitely, of course, man. They mark their
Jeez.
territory like it's going out of fashion.
Hello,
of
just like a
spray.
child.
So I'm down with that.
Bit of left,
100%
right.
monkeys.
Spray.
Holloway.
Not baboons or gorillas. I'm talking like those
Yeah,
ones
the
you
cool
see in
ones. The
Bali,
ones,
man.
yeah, they're cool.
That run around
Holloway,
like
what
crazy.
animal would you be and why?
Oh, I'd have to be a dog's Ollie because it's a dog's life.
Few
Every
people
day.
have said that. Few people have said that.
Every day of the week, they are number one.
Dog's life. Cool.
Easy.
What up, dog?
Dan.
No, like a whale shark. I don't know.
Why?
They're so vast. They're just chilling, planktonizing, getting the nutrients from who knows where.
That is a cool answer.
Planktonizing.
I know.
That
I've
is
always
a
liked
cool-
them.
You could be
answer.
what's the sea cow?
Yeah, what? There you go.
The
A
dugong.
No,
Yeah.
well, he was happy with the
That's
whale
perfect.
shark.
That's-
Like,
that-
they're
A
different.
whale shark's
But then,
veggie.
think about, they are, but then think about the
okay,
limpets
good.
that hung on the underside of things like sharks and whale sharks. They're pretty respectable because, they just
They're
hanging
supporting
on,
other
man.
life.
soaking
Nah.
it up, whatever they're doing.
They're like minor birds. Get rid of them.
Abolish
all
minor birds.
All right, so what
Good.
do we got?
There's
we got a
the
monkey,
intros.
a dog, and a
Monkey, dog, and a whale shark.
Yeah, whale shark.
Beautiful.
WS with
No,
squirrel.
well, is it a dugong or a whale shark? What do we?
I think whale shark, but then,
Sorry,
what made me think
I
of that
interjected there.
is like when there's a pelly of riders and you're absolutely flexing through traffic, holding it full tilt, and you still don't crash into each other. That reminds me of a school of fish. They just harmony all together, just like,
Ooh.
and there's no danger of ragging, no absolute question that everybody is in harmony together. So fish is what made me think of whale sharks.
Zip.
And like the way that the whale shark is so vast, yeah, they get a lot of respect. I mean, imagine
Yeah,
if
man.
one appeared underneath you when you're diving and you see it down there and you're just like, whoa, you
I've
would be
recently
done some
nodding
whale
at your
sharks.
wetsuit.
And being under the water is just magic. Being scuba diving is magic. The world under there is incredible. But water to land,
no
water to
dogs,
land, we have kind of gathered you guys here because I put a little post on the internet that drew a bit of attention about Marshy saying something about the Inside Line Mountainbike Club and kind of how it started. So we're going to get to that topic through our conversation. But first, I want to get to know a little bit more about you guys growing up first as individuals before we get to that. So I'm going to go to you, Dan. You're starting first this time. Tell us a little about growing up in primary school through to high school. What was life like?
Well, North Adelaide Primary School, I remember that there was this friend of the family, Zoe, that maybe I was 4, so I wasn't going to school yet, but we were friends with her, and maybe she started because her birthday was before me, and so we would maybe look after her after school, and then she had like a classic old step-through girls' bike that was in the backyard, just sort of like a dunger bike. And I didn't know how to really ride a bike yet. But because the dunger bike was sort of, just something you could have a go at, it was just hanging around, I like picked it up. And then I started to realize, if you just keep pushing rather than like push and falter, it was like, oh yeah. And then I sussed it. I remember going round and round in the back of this old place that's still there, off Ward Street, having like the best time just orbiting around on this tiny bike because it was small and it was not something that was cared about if it got crashed. So yeah, Zoe, it was a real absolute passport into riding. And then after, Dad was like, oh yeah, you getting a bike for Christmas, or do you want to? And I was like, yes. And even though it was a folding bike and I wanted a high riser from Dean Toastland Cycles.
Dean Toastland?
Where was that?
Yeah, opposite the Scotsman.
Oh, where Mike
that,
Turner's is?
Yeah. Oh, no, the opposite side.
Well, that's where Mike Turner was originally.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, that's right. So
is that the same shop?
Yeah, and his actual name, the guy who ran the shop, his name was Dick Collier, but the shop was named after a famous local rider called Dean Toastland. So yeah, got the folding bike, and Dad loved how it folded up and went in the boot of the 6-volt Volksy if he needed to ride it to work or whatever. So yeah, thrashing around on that, and then I don't know, there was like, as much as I would have wanted a high riser with a sissy bar, it didn't happen. Not like the rider that I saw later. But yeah, we can't have everything we want. So, what was your question?
Yeah, growing up, as a young kid.
Yeah, so
primary school to high school life.
That was I remember. And then after that, my dad was into recording. He had a home studio when he moved so the whole family moved from Sydney to Adelaide in 73 from memory, and he had his home studio set up and ran into a little band that were playing down the local called Fraternity, which had members of Jimmy Barnes, Swanee and AC/DC in there. So then they were jamming in our basement, in our cellar, and there was maybe where was that going?
Basement. You're in the basement.
Yeah, in the basement. But you said something
Junior
about
school.
growing up.
School.
Hey,
growing
up, man. What's happening?
Yeah, but there was something about bikes.
Nah, if it was. Life, family. You were here in Adelaide. That's where your
we're
life
here in
grew up.
Adelaide.
That's where you came from.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, okay, so Dad had all this recording equipment, and then he got really sick. He had a collapsed lung, and he was in hospital. The hospital was saying, here we're going to give you a lumbar puncture, which is a giant needle up his spine to try and do some R&D about what was wrong with him. And he was like, oh, what are the options? And he heard about a chiropractor and a naturopath sort of situation and looked into it. And they were like, look, get out of here, get off all these chems, go vegan, go zen, go as fresh as possible. And he was like, instantly better. And then he was like, all right, we're putting the whole family on this. And he sold all his recording equipment and bought bikes and camping equipment for the whole family. So we went camping every holiday, and to Wilpena Pound in the winter or Coffin Bay in the summer. And we got bikes so that we could ride to school every day. So Dad worked in North Adelaide as well as a photographer, and we'd all ride together to school. And I just remember always riding. And then when other kids were getting, you know, their license and stuff, I was like, fist, we're just going to keep riding. And that's my story.
Oh, this is going to be like, to people watching, I'm sorry, we're not really doing this for you, we're doing this for us.
That's my
And
story.
this is what we're going to do, and this is how it's going to go. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. Holloway,
Going way back.
tell us about you growing up, young Glenn Holloway.
Orkpal, well, from the dirty Mexican side of the border, as you know, Ballarat. But had bikes, bunny hopped the snake. My first bunny hop ever was on a Gove Steel Special down a fire track. Bunny hopped this snake, but it was already dead. But I didn't know that. Just bunny hopped it and
Sick.
rode bikes to school every day. Moved to Adelaide, new homes. Used to go to his house.
Matt
play
Holmes?
Commodore 64.
Is that who you're saying?
Matt Holmes.
Matt
the-
Holmes.
Sick.
And yes, Matt.
You swapped software with him.
Oh yes, there was 5.25-inch floppy crossovers
Fully.
all
15,
day of the
41.
week. Oh, and the cassettes.
Oh, yeah.
Don't fuck with the cassettes,
You
man.
boys were on fire.
And, anyway, new homes through just growing up in the Rat, and then moved to Adelaide.
What year?
Oh, I don't know. I think 91, I reckon, with the girlfriend at the time, Bronnie, and sold the car, became a bike courier, went to a dual slalom race at Marble Hill, saw the madness. Oh, the madness.
But before that, your primary school years. Before you, we'll get to the courier thing. We'll get to the bike thing.
Oh, the primary
Junior
school
life.
years.
What was growing up like for Glenn Holloway
Oh, I thought
in
of
Ballarat?
footy, cricket, table tennis, basketball, running amok, blowing things up, shooting stuff,
Okay.
being
Sounds
a rapscallion,
Oh,
basically.
rapscallion.
Driving buddy cars, paddock bombs, motorbikes.
So then you moved to Adelaide. How old?
I was 21, I reckon. 22, perhaps.
21, 22. What year was that?
91, 92.
Ish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, about that.
All right, let's hold it there. 92-ish. You've moved to Adelaide.
Yeah, and the
And
old
then-
Commodore, VK Commodore, what a weapon. Beast.
Hold it there.
I'd
Hold it
recommend
there.
anyone go out there and buy one if they get the chance.
We're going to move across to Rick Iola. Growing up as a kid, how and where? What was
Yeah,
growing
I grew
up
up. I grew up as a kid for sure. It was.
Are you sure?
It was an interesting experience. Just to touch on your snake bunny hopping. Excuse me. I used to make it a little thing of mine to bunny hop past out homeless people on the street when I was working. You know, I mean, I couldn't resist it. Honestly, I'd ride past and see them lying there.
Bum jumping.
And I was like, either sleep.
What age was this? Younger than 5
you
or
know,
6?
I was
hopefully.
definitely not. I was definitely in my teens.
Okay. Well, step us back before you got to your teens.
So, anyway,
Tell us when
to
you're about
touch on the
6
question,
to 10-ish.
man,
What was life like when you were
You
little
know-
junior? Brothers, sisters?
yeah, older sister, you know, cool fam, you know, things were cool. No, you know, nothing, no problems.
Bikes were your thing back
things
then?
were pretty sweet, you know. I mean, every kid wanted the freedom machine, no doubt. I mean, every kid always wants it. I got it early. I was into it. I stacked hard. I loved it. You know, I got back on. It wasn't going to stop me. Kept doing it. Still do it.
Nice.
I'm 48.
You're a bastard.
And, you know, I started on a road. I love this shit. I started on a Roadmaster. I remember getting sent down the street, trying to, like, get the carrot. My mate hanging out about 10 doors down. That was good fun. Yeah, I went down a few times, but it was dope. Anyway, moved on to some crazy ass, like, I don't even know what to say. It was kind of like Frankenstein's monster of a BMX that my dad and his mate had kind of like put together. And, you know, I'll just say this. It had a roadie head stem.
Oh, dear.
Okay, so, and it was painted the Hawthorn Football Club colours. It had a Hawthorn
God.
sticker on the front. It was
This
pretty
is
dope.
a bloody travesty.
It was pretty. It was pretty damn cool, but ended up getting stolen. Blah blah blah. Got chased by many dogs on that bicycle. You know, I was putting up mad sprint times. You know, in Prospect, it was crazy. I wasn't afraid of that shit.
All three of you, did you finish high school? What year did you finish school? Holloway, start with you.
Year 12, mate.
Yep.
VCE.
And
So
then,
smart. Oh, I'm
did you
so
know what you're
smart.
going to do after year 12?
Oh, of course. I was going to be a pilot. I was going to be just
pilot?
#1 football player.
Sweet.
Just a gun all around.
Good goals.
Solly.
Bloody brilliant. Dan?
Then I moved to Adelaide.
Finish school?
No, I
everything
started
went down.
doing year 12 over 2 years, and I kept getting in trouble for wearing baggy pants and happy shoes. Happy shoes, yeah. They got me in trouble.
Happy shoes.
Yeah, you know, like Chinese kung fu slippers. And,
How dare you?
I remember
just-
how big they were back in the day.
oh, massive. And, you know,
How dare you?
I just kept wearing them, got in trouble, and then they were like, what are you really looking to do? And I was like, well, you know, electronics, computers. And then they said, well, we can get you into this vocational bridging electronic engineering course at Regency Park. That's, you know, starting in March or something. And I was like, bang. And then went and did that.
I can see that in you.
Yeah, and then started that, and then I was like, this studying is like doing my head in, and saw what other options, you know, because everyone was having like a year off, whatever. So there was a situation where Buddy said I could work as a mechanist during the festival, taking stages apart. So I did that for Sunkai Juku and was getting paid $42 an hour because I worked from when the show finished. It was a late show, maybe 11 until 1:30 a.m. And then those bucks was like instrumental in me renting a pager from Answer Page. And then I was like, wait up. Couriers have pages as part of their work and they ride around. So I was like, ooh. So then I went and did that job just because you got a pager as part of the job. And then
And you're 17, 18, this, I'm guessing.
yeah,
That's kind of your
fine.
age.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh, this is the go. And there was, you know, just not much brain work, but massive adventure being a courier. You know, you had a mission. You felt like you're doing something. And so I was just like, yeah, it's on.
You figured
And then-
that out at that age, that young age.
And then I was just like, this is incredible, like action when other like minds would rock up, and then Friday night we'd be going, oh yeah, you know, we're all hanging around on bikes. Why don't we go down that car park?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Race.
All right, hey, don't get too
Yeah.
excited. Settle down. Hang on.
Calm down, boy.
I'm going to start using these noises here. There. No, I've got this new machine here. Iola, we didn't get to you.
What's up?
How did
what are
you
we
finish
talking
high
about?
school? How did you end up
I
at
did
the
not
end of
finish
school?
high school.
Huh?
I
not
learned
finish.
what I needed. But on the contrary, I acquired Uber knowledge. Once I left.
Street
Okay,
level.
so I got my basics. I hated maths. You know, whatever. Same old shit. I left when I was 15. I worked as a lawn mowing contractor. Luckily, my dad was a lawn mowing contractor. He had he was like, all right, cool. You're working with me. Bam. Just like that. And did that for a year. And then...
Konnichiwa. Arigato.
Well, you know, I don't want to go too far into it, but you know, then my mum hit me up. This is pretty cool.
Okay.
Because I mean, Dan went that far, so I'll kind of go there. My mum hit me up one day. She was like, "Yeah, this dude that I work with on Flinders Street knows a guy across the road who works at this bike courier company." And boom, she was like, "Yeah,
How did he know?
His mate can put a good word in for you if you want
And
to
you
go
knew
in."
Dan? You guys knew each other at this stage?
Not yet.
How's this, right? We didn't know each other, but my sister and him knew each other pretty well.
From the club.
Yeah,
But
because
I
my
had
sister and him are the same age.
But I had seen young Chudney at all the local video game deli chip shops in Prospect because we
Yeah, back
both
in the day.
were in Prospect.
We both grew up in Prospect, but we didn't know each other.
Yeah, so I remember seeing him at this Sefton Park chicken shop that had a bomb jack, and then went to this game room at
Bomb Jack.
what's it called? The Brickworks. And that game room, Chudney was always there. So young Jesse was always
Yeah, because
loitering within 10.
my mum had a shop there, so I
Loitering.
was there always. But anyway, yeah, long story short, my mum got me into the career game, which obviously, you know, brings us here, you know, got me into the mountain biking game.
That's what it came to.
Aye, mate.
I mean, that's a broad
That's a good step. I reckon on it, can you push that record on that one back over there again for us, Rick? Push that button in our very semi-professional studio here. Do you
No,
get
I'm
it?
giving
That
it
little-
all professions, Ollie. It's
Yeah.
top notch.
There's like a little
It's-
round. Yep. we're
It's
good.
actually rolling like an absolute greased. Well,
Well, I had no idea how and where
Some
this
might
was
say.
going to go. That one there, that little, there we just bless and pray and pass it around. Don't give you 3 minutes here and 20 seconds there. Don't have to record all the stuff. Yeah, don't want Holloway's face in there.
No,
but
it's done
you have
well.
groomed yourself for tonight, Glenn.
yeah,
Looking
yes,
exceptional.
yes,
That's
I
amazing.
had
And
actually.
and a couple of shirts here. Can I just say, very nice to see a little bit of represent there. Holloway, tell us about that shirt.
Well, I don't know where I found it, mate. It was like in an op shop, and I thought that's a nice shirt, and $5.
Oh, good story.
Bought it off this
Yeah.
bloody volatile.
Yeah.
That's a
Guy.
classic.
Sold
guy?
that well. Oh, you've got the same badge, but you got a different coloured star. You gold and you're silver. Do you see that, Dan?
Yeah,
I don't know if
fully.
you've noticed that.
Well, Joe said this was
I
earlier.
don't have one.
And
Mine's
I
on the
remember the thickness of this one.
Oh, the
being
thickness,
That's every
pal. Oh, pal.
That is a
is
101.
But isn't
Yeah.
that
is a
an
101.
actual?
Being
That was
touched
supposed
up,
to be a
everyone.
pillowcase.
It's actually a
I
sheet.
think
Not
that
sure
was
I can
supposed to
survive
be a
this.
sheet.
I've been touched up by all of them.
No, that was a one of
They
one.
want me.
Brilliant shirt.
Don't get carried away, mate.
Look, we can go anywhere with this. You guys can throw. Dan, you've got some cool stuff laid out in front of you here. What do you got sitting in front of you?
All right,
Tell us.
So, when the career game became a bit more
What's that little camera?
competitive.
What did we do with that?
Wait up, let's rewind. So I remember the first day that I met Ricky Iola, young Chudney, Cincy,
Chudney.
and he was. Did Joffa start on the same day as you? I think it was like
a week before.
yeah. So when
A week before.
so he had a certain style that was different to all the others that I hardly respected. But
What do you mean a style? What style?
well, his whole game was, new. It wasn't like your typical bicycle brigade stick demographic that
What was
you
your bicycle
talking- are you
brigade
talking-
demographic?
all right, so BB, Bicycle Brigade demographic riders was sort of like, let's just define them nowadays as like XC riders. And then...
What year? Hang on, go back to put some reference
You're talking
to
like
this.
what?
88. Yeah, so 88. And, Lycra was rare, like to have an actual jersey or, bike shorts. Like, it was just like, nah, who's going to pay for that and have that? That was new. And when it got supplied by the company and we had to wear it as uniform, we didn't ask. We just like put it on, even though it might not have been the wrong size or anything. I always went with triple XL and had the baggiest chamois, and then
I remember you sporting that shit.
Oh yeah, always. I mean, but I remember being in
And you.
full tilt lycra with shaggy chamois
Nasty.
in the
Oh, shaggy
nightclub
chamois.
until dawn, dancing in my work uniform, and then being like, oh, wait up, dawn. Oh, suddenly, oh, wait up, I got to be at work at 8. Oh, well,
Mackenzie's on the mic.
We'll just keep going,
Carry on.
we'll be fine. And gone straight to work. So back to meeting Chudney. He rocked up and he had a different style to all the others, and we were just like, oh, yeah, he's like rude as, but we like it. And then like Joffo rocked up a week later, as he
Perfect
says.
timing.
And Joffo is the feisty Scot who was just like primal urges and was not communicatable with. He was just
more
like
caveman.
He was, and he was
Acting on
speaking with
instinct
his
in
wheels.
traffic.
Yeah, and we just like respected that even more. So. Me for one, everyone I remember was just like dissing him, like going, those whippersnappers, they need to learn some manners and stuff. But we were like, nah, you guys are stale. Let's get with the
And
pack.
the bikes you were riding were what?
Primitive.
Oh, there was a problem there because me and Joffel were feeding off each other, which was even worse. But
Yeah.
the bikes we were
What were
riding.
you riding?
I mean, when I started bikering.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, this is the thing. I mean, my mum was like, "Yo, get a job," and I walked in there, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm here," and they're like, "Oh yeah, you're Paul's mate," and I'm like, "Yeah, for sure." I never met him, and I mean, he could have been standing next to me. Anyway, they're like, "Yep, start Monday, sweet." Saturday, go out, buy like the shittest mountain bike you could imagine. I mean, I went to Super Elliott's though. Obviously, I went.
Is that Merrick? Was that Ben?
Yep.
Ben?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm there and I buy some piece of shit Maverick, I think it was called. It must have cost like $350. I go out there. I mean, I think it lasted 2 or 3 weeks. I rode off a curb and a car came out and I just, bam, forks broke, stem broke, moved on.
Let me just take a little step.
Terrible.
And you are both talking about your occupations as a bike courier.
Yeah, there we were.
And what is a bike courier?
Okay, well, so we should clarify this. We kind of
What
like,
was in that
so a
context?
bicycle messenger is, pick up. It's basically like a courier.
1990.
A courier in a van, but it's on a bicycle, and we're doing it strictly in the city. So it's
It's like a postman, but rapido.
you start at a base in the morning, and then they'll give you some jobs. You go out. All right, go here, pick up a job, take it there, and as you go on, you pick up more and drop more, and as you get more experience, the load becomes bigger and bigger. So you get to a point where you can handle like 20 jobs at one time.
How do you carry your packages? What packages are you carrying?
Dan,
It's just how many packages?
Yeah, what do you
typically
carry? Is
you've
it
got-
an envelope? Is it flowers?
Yeah, no, they're usually A4 envelope
Mostly
with an important
envelopes.
signature on there. So yeah, it's mostly
Loads.
envelopes, and we just like it's it's the quick and the dead. It doesn't matter about like how you get there. You just got to get it there, and there's different rates of
The turbo.
payment. Yeah, you can get like
The super turbos.
turbo, super turbo, or
What everyone used to call them. What was
super turbo definition was deliver as fast
It
as
just has to be-
humanely possible.
yeah. Like break all traffic rules.
just
we
get
don't
it there.
care. Just get it there.
But everyone had their own. Like tenors had their turbo. What did bicycle
Wait,
guys have? They had
The problem
their,
was though.
yeah.
I mean,
One.
I treated standards as super turbos,
Yeah.
man. You
Hang
know.
on. Okay,
Yeah.
so there's competing company. We're talking. Let's say
Yeah.
1990
Yeah.
or so, and there's a few competing
Yeah,
bike courier
good, yes.
companies.
Well,
we got?
Who are those companies?
Okay, so Main Nicholas was the parent company that owned Bicycle Brigade.
They did
CTI.
pace messengers.
Yeah,
Wasn't
Pace. And then, but
CTI,
I think they
10
sort of
speed.
juggled between the two names. Well, before CTI, there was
Sanford.
City Mail, which was down at 408 King William Street, next to the bottle with the 2 giant bottles that were swinging like that all the time. And that was run by Gary Roper. And there was like always a swarm of riders, in and out of there, like, oh, quick, here's the address, do this. And we got it on a piece of paper and then we went and picked it up, dropped it off, and then, you know, once you were skillful at doing that, you could do 2 at a time, and then after a while, suddenly you've got like 7 in your bag, and then you get the big time. They say like, oh, quick, you got to go to Thompson's, a 101 Perry. They've got 12 jobs, and you're like, what? And that's called a run, and you go like, yes, and so you just do it, yeah, and then
Even
bang, bang,
make
bang.
fuck all.
Can you
Yeah.
give us a bit of perspective of the city layout of where your headquarters was and where you had to get to? Like,
Well, yeah, typically.
if you can't see it, like what on the map? How far do you have to travel in Adelaide CBD?
Fist.
Where was
Like,
where was your?
You'd be
base?
doing loops, Ollie, like all day
yeah,
long. Just
concentric circles. Just
You have a base.
Kicking
All
up
the
there.
letters, all the stuff is at your base,
well, sometimes you have to go back to a base to wait in the lineup.
but you
Yeah,
pick up your
standby.
package.
But BB was just like on the radio.
Yeah,
we don't pick up from
think-
base, we pick up from a business.
Depending on where you work,
Business to
right?
business.
So I can give
Yeah.
a few examples. Like if you were working at 10-speed Couriers, which was probably had, 10-speed and Bicycle Brigade had the most couriers. So 10-speed, you would tend to rock up in the morning and you'd be in line. So whoever got there first, they'd be getting the job, right? So job came, all right, next, here you go. There's a job at, 91 King
You're
going
fighting for your spot.
going to 400 King, all right? Just go out and do it. And, if we get any more that are kind of coming from there or maybe 2 there, we'll give you a call and you can pick one up on the way,
Next,
and then
bike.
by lunchtime, you're just kind of cruising around the city.
How
just-
many people
Next.
are there fighting for that number one spot?
Well,
12.
if you want to get in there at 7:30
Yeah.
in the morning, I mean, I used to rock up at like,
Be a few, wouldn't
later. I wasn't rocking up
Lazy
at
bastard.
7:30 or 8 o'clock, but if someone did, that meant they were keen for some money. So, and they wanted to get the good job straight away.
What time did you rocking up there, Holloway?
Oh, pretty early, but 10 speed was good. Bicycle Brigade, though, you had the radio and you just had the guy in the tassels, we used to call him, old Susie Q and I nicknamed him Tassels in the office there at Bicycle Brigade. And he used to just, on the microphone, and whoever was quickest on the car, your name, you had a car 20. And I was car 20, Glenn 20, of course. Ha ha.
Car 10.
So funny guys, aren't they? But yes, whoever was quickest on the mic would be the, all right, I'm here, I'm going to get those 2 jobs.
Dude,
But,
that
yeah.
shit used to go crazy, right?
Yeah.
So, like I was saying, 10-speed, mobile phones.
Like a frenzy.
And go back to the office all the time. Bicycle Brigade, rock in the morning, dump your shit, grab your 2-way, out the door. You never go back to the office, right? But with Bicycle Brigade, they'd be like, we've got a job going from here to here, a job going from here to here, job going from here to here, job, list out 10 jobs, right? And everyone would be listening, and you would literally just be like, all right, I'm going to take that one, I'm going to take that one and that one. You couldn't just go like the first or second. You had to give them the details, right? So as soon as he'd start,
Explain,
you would literally
explain
just go,
the job to me more. Like, what is the job? Like, I run a business in the city, and I've got some signatures I need you to
Yeah.
sign for my lawyer.
You're a lawyer,
To the
you're at a
thing.
court case,
Yeah.
you need a document to go here, get
Printing.
signed, come back. That was your super turbo, need to be done.
yeah.
So, a
Yeah.
good example is
Yeah, printing
law
too.
court to
Yeah.
a law firm and back again.
Oh, law
usually
firm to law firm,
Yeah,
constantly.
law firm. So one law firm is getting a reference or a concept of what's going on from a guy who's had a previous experience with a similar case. So they look it up in the CCH reference books, but then they also look up and they go, oh, wait up. This guy, Joe Smith, has like a case that he just won that is very similar. So I'm going to ask his opinion on that. And if they don't know each other, they can start the relationship with some sort of fiscal
Shared knowledge.
dimension. But yeah, they always like getting the last minute deets about what to do with this case and from a higher up. So, some peer of theirs is someone that we take something to, they go over it, then they, sign it or make notes, and then they give it back to us. We take it back because usually there's an upcoming court case and they want to, mac that.
And that's within what
No-
time frame? What
No
time
internet.
frame we talking?
Well,
15 minutes sometimes?
Yes.
Sometimes
Yeah,
it's
quick.
the same day, some days it's like slim windows
Yeah.
of, turbo 15 minutes.
They're
So
like-
you had
and-
big circles, though, and sometimes you had 2 hours to drop off something. Sometimes it was important, so you'd just be like, "Oh, I'll get that when I go out there next time."
Yeah, you just go back there later.
relate that to today, 2024.
Oh,
Would that job exist?
No, they're all suckers.
Well, no,
Like, and you could share that knowledge differently.
it still
Not a
exists.
signature, but or maybe.
It's still happening. Like, you still need a physical
yeah.
signature on things. Like, sure, there is a lot of electronic stuff, but, you know, when they need us, they need us. And I'm still waiting for signatures, and they're going over, you know, the outline of the case with of 4 pages that they've got to read whilst I loiter, and then boom.
I used to just like, there were days where I just wrote Helen every signature, man. I didn't give a damn. Like, for real, like, they didn't even care either. No one looked at the run sheets at the end of the day. It was like back in the 90s, man, it was all done pen and paper, and you know, there'd just be stacks of these run sheets. They'd only go back to them if they needed to.
A group of you couriers, you were riding and you developed a friendship and a bond, and you hung around in Adelaide. It's a small group. You all got together.
Yeah.
And then how did Couriers, where did it go to from there? Like, you kind of got together, and what events were you doing? You were doing events in Courier Land. What sort of stuff were you doing?
Yeah. So Friday night, there'd be a social sort of
German
piss
club
up style. Yeah. Initially, it was paid for by the boss. They were like, yeah, come on, camaraderie, you know, work, catch up. I'll pay for jugs. And you're just like sitting at the German. And then we're like, well, we're going to do our own style version of that in the park. And then we're all chilling down by the lake, or, you know, one of the many spots. And then we started hanging out down next to the what's it called? Torrens Parade Ground, which has
Army Barracks.
Barracks, which has a steep descent and midway platform that used to have a rail.
Little launches.
Rail on it, yeah. So, like, we would be going that and then launching over the path, and then
that was
basically,
a sick jump, man.
The pump over the fence.
You'd come from the top behind Government House, and then you drop down, and then you drop down, and you go across, and then you launch across the path.
The grassy knoll.
Eventually, they extended the fence because they cottoned onto it eventually. Like, it took them years.
There was a line, wasn't there?
But they put the fence there.
There was a line.
You couldn't do it anymore.
You could jump the fence. You could. You're bunning up. There was that flat ledge to.
But
if you were ballsy enough, you could do that shit.
Yes.
That's a big jump.
I think I've seen Rossi do that.
Yeah, he's the kind of dude who do it.
Yeah.
Definitely. Damn.
So Friday night we'd catch up and hang out, and then it got turned into like, let's go somewhere where we can flex our bikes out, and then
turn down a little bit more.
Yep, sorry. And then somebody was saying, there's a car park right there. Let's get down that.
Let's do some runs.
Man, I don't remember how that actually started, but I know that the first day I walked into a courier business,
it's a bit of a loud
and sat down at the table. Boom! I saw mountain bike magazines. I'd never seen one before, and I was 16, so that was like 92. And yeah, I just picked them up and started looking through it, and I was seeing a couple of bikes as well. A couple of guys had nice bikes. Like, the funny thing is, back then, everyone that was riding a mountain bike, pretty much there was a courier, they were riding their mountain bike that they rode off-road as a courier.
They're all guns too.
There were a couple of there were a few good riders there.
But competition was hot.
Just breaking away from that car park thing, you know. That's how I got introduced to mountain biking.
No, you're right though. There was so many just downhillers. People could just handle a bike. That was killer. Everyone could
man. When I started,
everyone could just ride. Just hit
like
jumps.
Sadler was a courier. Stomo was a courier.
Yeah.
Stomo
boys. Yeah, there's the name.
SCU boys.
Is that how?
Scum.
Nugsy was a courier. No, he wasn't. No, Nugsy wasn't a courier, was he?
No. Never made it to
well
the
into riding.
high plains of a courier.
Downhills.
But hang on, I said SCU. That came after. We're still in Courier Land.
Yeah.
We're still. It's Adelaide.
There's
not far
guys.
off, the main crew of people riding bikes are bike couriers. That they're together doing their thing, and then somehow those guys got together. Dave Mott was in the mix.
Oh,
Big
so.
time.
And what part? Where was he?
So we were standing by in Vic Square, and there was Dave Mott appeared, and it was sort of like if you were into bikes, you might go past and say hi to the couriers who were standing by in Vic Square waiting for jobs. So we then saw Dave Mott rock up with Iron Fanny, and they had she had a Cannondale, a hand-painted yellow Cannondale with a chunky fork, and we were like, oof, that is a sweet bike, and they've customized it themselves. And then Dave was like, hey, how's it going? I'm from Brisbane, we just got here. And, we're heaps into mountain biking and stuff, and are there any trails around here? And we're just sort of like blasé, like, oh, yeah, there might be, cool, whatever. And then we saw him a bit more, and then he was like, oh, you guys, what was he talking about?
Yeah, turn that one off. We'll pause it for a minute. We'll keep the background music off.
Yeah, we go for wee wee.
Tell us that. We'll do that.
Liquid in, liquid out.
Well, okay, we'll do a pause.
Yep.
We are Dave Mott.
Yeah. We're meeting Dave
the
Mott and
start of
Iron
Dave
Fanny,
Mott.
Deborah
We're going to take
Quattro.
a quick break.
Yeah.
Everyone's quite happy. Yeah. I'm going to press all the buttons. And
Where's the microphone? The microphone's down here.
I want to drink your blood.
I'm your boyfriend now, Cindy.
there we go. All right, we'll be back.
Is there one
yes.
that's a West End there? Should be one grimy. Bonky. Oh, poor Bonky. Thank you. Oh.
And then there's, fuck with the shit.
Number one, your meal's ready. Number one.
Begin again. In a golden land of opportunity and adventure.
Disappointing these cameras
Chance
run out
to
so
begin
quick.
again.
That's on.
Wait, do you remember where I met you and Joffa?
I remember.
Gillen.
Please remind me.
So I was on Flinders and Pulteney
Gillen the villain.
going.
Why have you got the echo? You got
going
the echo
east.
then.
I've got the
you
echo
got that
right
one.
here.
He's got the special
And I
microphone.
remember you were trying to track stand at the
Microphone.
lights, and then
Microphone.
Joffa came up, and I was like, both of them are here.
That's not how
And
you
then
do
I
it.
was I was just like,
We're getting to hear it from Dan's perspective. See, I remember. I just remember being like, ready for action.
yes.
Oh,
Turn that off. Turn that off. Enough.
Feedback.
I'm lowering my level.
Okay, sorry.
It's not a feedback,
Stop
it's a
all of you.
musette.
Feedback.
You hit
Okay.
the donger.
We're back.
Feedback.
There's like a bunch of kids here. Really is. And I love it.
Sacrifice.
Okay.
Feedback.
Dan, if we could maybe
Yeah.
just turn the music off for a minute.
Yeah, sure.
And
Come
we're
on,
going to
Dan,
get
calm it
serious
down.
here for a second.
All right,
Bring in the
so
stick.
Where are we up?
We're gonna get serious.
UD rocked up.
We're going to get serious.
Everyone's ready for roll drawing?
And what? No. Have I got a sound effect that does? No. That's the voices. No.
Crickets.
Applause. Okay. Dave Mott. Take it away, Dan.
Okay, so we're in Vic Square, and Dave Mott rocks up, and he's like asking if
Come on,
we've-
make it a little bit less boring.
UDG rocked up, and he's like, "Do you guys race on the weekends?" And we're like, "What? Nah, we don't really take it that seriously. Like, what are you talking about?" And he's like, you guys are pretty skillful riders. I've been following you guys around, and you should do some racing." And we're like, "Oh, we're not that keen, but sounds fun." And then he's keeps talking to us, and he's like,
He's a pretty cool dude, though,
yeah,
back then, wasn't
he's
he?
chill. And then he comes along, and he's wearing his tight denim.
Sorry,
With
technical
ripped
roll
knees
to the
and-
studio.
He's obviously doing a bit of R&D on the bike, and then we invite him along for car parks, and then he's just cacking himself, loving how raw it is and the descents, and people are just getting chewed up and spat out. People are riding over the top of each other once people are ragged. If you ragdoll off to the side and
It's madness.
your bike is rideable over, we'll ride over your spokes, tires,
Well, you
most
don't
of
have
you.
enough time to react. And the car park racing is an underground, like super underground thing that only the people that participated in it pretty much know. And every now and then there was someone who'd come on a Friday night on a bike. Oh, yeah, I'll do your car parks. You'd hear the crashing back, man, and you'd never see them again, you know.
It's like a gladiator sport.
Who knows? I mean,
Hardcore.
they might have still been lying in there an hour later. We don't know because we just went on to the next car park.
seen
It was
Darren
kind of like,
O'Grady hit
by
it
the
hard.
end, it was like 3
I've
people.
been in a few car
The
park
dog-
runs, and there has. Yes, I know exactly how
They're
sometimes
hardcore.
it ends.
They were hardcore, and it
dog-
was like the start was like a full like okay, cool. Go.
Sometimes there's Le Mans start.
Yeah,
We've done
yeah,
a few Le
sometimes Le
Mans.
Mans
That was
start.
always pretty good. You had a certain start
for sure.
repertoire, and then from there, boom. So career runs.
But
I think David Jones' car park was probably the best. Friday
North
night
Terrace.
after
John
some
Martin's.
beers. John
Martin's.
Yeah, cars trying to get out. It was
The
just
one by Rhino Room was good.
Hyde
That
Street.
was
Yeah.
a good one.
10
That was
Couriers
good.
trying to get out.
You mean the old
fast.
Rhino Room,
The
the
old
original
one,
one?
yeah,
Yeah, that was a
yeah.
good one. Hyde Street was my
You
personal
would catch the
favorite.
lift. You would get in the lift.
Yeah.
Oh,
often.
yeah, we'd
Well,
wedge
you-
it. So there'd be
yeah.
like
Yeah.
at least 5 to 6 of us just absolutely wedge, like up, holding your bike up, and then one bike over the top, like just to totally take maximum use of all the available space in the lift.
Normal
then-
people would be trying to just catch the lift to get to their car to go home.
and we'd be like, sorry,
and they would get
Yeah,
into
no,
the
no,
lift,
no,
and
no.
there'd be
No,
6
no.
guys.
They're
with
not
bikes.
getting in that lift, man.
See ya.
Trust me, when they see us standing there, they're backing off. And we weren't even intimidating, you know, we're just
Just
a lot of
smelt.
people with a bike as well. So it was like twice as many.
And then mountain biking came along. You guys are Couriers, and then the mid 90s, 93, 94
Pro Tour.
ish. The mountain bikes, like the frames started changing, the wheels started changing, they started riding a little bit differently.
They were finally
was-
around, Zolly.
Yeah, we
And-
started to hit the hills.
After all this time, they were around.
And then that bloke, David Mott, was involved with
In
the
organising
decision
it, yep.
to form a mountain bike club.
Yeah,
And
well,
we had
so-
our mountain bike clubs. We had Adelaide Mountain Bike Club
Yeah.
here in
Yeah.
South Australia. They ran cross country.
Yeah.
They ran some trials events.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it cost money to do it, and we just weren't interested
It
in
was
being formulated, and we were just keeping it raw, street level.
Because
So,
we were wild.
and then UDG.
Well, cross country was very
Yeah, exactly.
prim and proper. It was like road racing
exactly.
in mountain
We
bikes.
didn't
it.
fit in, let's put it
Yeah,
that way.
Totally.
Cowboy Couriers.
We were too raw, too street level. And then when UDG was like, cacking himself at the car parks, he's like, oh, you've got to like come and represent on the world stage. And we're like, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, I've got a white van, and there's this place called Mount Buller, and in the summer they have ski lifts that are running, and you can buy a pass for maybe $90 for the weekend. And we're like, $90? But then after a bit of pressure from UD, our glorious leader, we got that $90 together and a little bit of money for petty and food, and then bang, we're all in the van, and suddenly we're up at Buller, like.
Now, can I just say something?
That was
Nip
the
that in
first
the
one.
bud.
That
Yeah,
was,
that was the first
93.
one. Yeah.
93 was that?
Yep.
As-
And then
As he goes on, he's about to tell you the truth.
Oh, the truth.
Yeah, man, for
This
real.
was before the club.
Like, for
this
real.
trip was before the club. This was prior to the
Yeah,
mountain
this-
bike club. This was
yeah,
the year
this is
before.
prior to Inside
This was the
Line.
year before.
yeah.
This is an awesome
So-
story.
So we would be riding and quoting American mountain bike videos that we had watched at our various share houses before we went and punched the summit. So we'd be doing trails pre-watching to get hyped, pretty much.
What were you watching?
Mammoth Mountain.
Mammoth Mountain.
Mammoth Mountain
Tomac.
VHS.
John Tomac.
Yeah,
Johnny Tomac
They
in
would
his
always
speed
say, and
suits.
and that would be like just mind blowing for us. And then we'd like be quoting all the classic American cheese that they would be saying in the videos. So the way that Johnny T won this race was by taking this questionable line. It was an inside line. So when we're like fencing each other in the car parks, and somebody's
fencing.
taking like putting someone into the fence, just like ruthlessly, sacrificing them into whatever solid object it took to
Unlucky.
to get you in front then we started yelling out all these quotes from the videos, and we're like, "Oh, it's a good line, it's inside line," you know. And then when the second year that UDG said, you know, let's go back to that same chalet up in Mount Buller and do it again. And he rang up the chalet, and the chalet was like, "Oh, are you guys some mountain bike club or something?" And we were like, "Nah." And he's like, "Oh, pity, because if you're a mountain bike club, you can get a 20% discount." And like, UD was like, "All right, wait a sec, I'll call you back." UD rings me and he goes, "Dan," and he said, we have to have a name because we are now officially a club." And I'm like, "We're not a club, we're a motley crew." And he's like, "Yeah, but if we tell him a name of a club, just anything, we'll get 20% discount." And I'm like, "All right, well," and we're always yelling at the time, "Inside line, take the inside line." So suddenly that's how I said to him, "We have to name it the inside line, it's a no-brainer." And so he was like, "Yeah, killer," and then hung up, and then rang him up. And then boom, we were booked in for another year at the chalet with the old classic German guy saying, "Yeah, welcome to my chalet." And we were just like, "All right, I guess we're official now." And then after that, momentum, boom, 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 everybody wanted to jump on board. Suddenly it became like an extreme sport, and DH was invented, and I've probably like missed out a bit of stuff, but
No, that was
Shit went wild.
that was. Look, I was there when the meeting when they named the club, and it felt like it was mountain biking, and this was what we do. But that was the beginning. It hadn't even mountain bike downhilling club hadn't started. It was cross country. It was fitness. It was gravity.
I think we all
was too extreme.
Most people rode cross-country races as well. I mean, all of us
a
did
downhill
maybe
race
once or
did not
twice at
exist.
least.
A downhill race, like you got to the top of the hill, and the object
be your
was to get to the bottom as quick as you could. That didn't exist.
nah. And all the officialness of having a day license and like signing a disclaimer that if you break your neck, broke my neck, we're not gonna like sue the mountain bike club, was, you know, like what is this, like, you know, that scared us off. We're just like, we're going to go to the course, wait till the race finished, and just ride the track, which we did. But, you know, a bunch of us also, like, paid and whatever, did the actual race, and we're getting podiums, and we're like, all right, cool. Like, where did Chris Broken Spoke was... He was already racing
in the early,
XC stuff, and he was a bit of a wild card that I really appreciated our... where we were coming from. So, yeah, we were sort of aligning ourselves with, classic characters like that. And then UDG was
O'Grady.
like, fully. In this, okay, so with Doggy, Darren O'Grady,
The dog.
when we lived
the
at
brother of
the famous cyclist Stewie O'Grady, and when he would come over to our share house, he was, he'd bring his massage table, and like, Stomo, Bauk, and I and Potsy would each get a massage off him for $20. Stomo, Tim Simmons,
Timmy.
Stominator, and then
Sean
Bowden,
Rest in peace.
yeah, a champion, absolute legend. Bauk, who, you know, when he came on his first mountain bike ride out the back of Sanford, he had a pack of durries rolled up under his sleeve of his work shirt, and he was a tradie.
Oh, man.
And then Potafari was like...
David Potts.
Yeah, he had the suspenders on that. Actually, didn't he... Who did he buy the suspenders off? I can't remember, but yeah, there was a bunch of us that were well into mountain biking, and
I know who he sold them to.
yeah, good times. And then I don't know. After a bit, there was some SCU sort of integration where
Standish Cycles,
Scoo was
which was
keen
Peter
to pay the
Moyle's
wild cards. Yeah,
shop.
was it Peter Moyle?
Peter Moyle was Standish. Well, Standish Cycles only. Peter Moyle was Standish Cycles.
Yeah,
SCU was Standish Cycles only.
yeah, the
On Unley Road.
Yeah.
And those core group of riders were Craig Felix,
yeah,
Leith Sadler,
yeah.
Sean Bowden,
Tim, Sean
Yeah.
Bowden.
Simmons.
All those guys.
A white jersey with
Yeah,
the stripes
SCU.
across it.
And
Yeah.
as anyone who knows all the
Scuba
old
goes.
adrenaline magazines, you know, certain people, not not going to name anyone, maybe Scotty, used to enjoy just hanging immense amounts of shit on them.
Because it was
scum.
Because it was easy to just add an M to SCU. Unfortunately. But they were fit. There was a group
Scotty,
of fit.
old Scotty.
Yeah, man,
There
they
was
were
a group
all
of fit, super
good
fit
riders,
dudes.
man.
Good riders. And that was, I think they were the first kind of group
Team
riding. And the cross country, because again, mountain biking downhill hadn't happened yet.
Yeah, JTs, I suppose.
And
maybe.
but
Track.
documenting some of this stuff that was happening was one of the guys that we've got here, young Glenn Holloway.
Oh man,
You started documenting this stuff.
Yes,
How
mate.
and why did you start doing that?
Wow, jeez.
because you had a camera.
That's pretty much it. And
You into photography back then? Or
What
did you
year?
just
took
have
photos.
Give us a year.
Took photos back on the Rat. Through
Ballarat for
yes,
you.
the Rat. There's the Dirty Rat, some might call it. And just started there back in after year 12. Basically, went to a TAFE course, did photography, did some wacky photography things in the Rat, and then moved to Adelaide and went to that Marble Hill slalom and just went, cool, we'll get some photos of this shit.
How old were you?
I was 12. This thing, no, it was 20. What was I? 23, possibly, but yeah.
And who did you go to that race with? Did you go by yourself? Were
Just
you
turned
with-
up on myself because, Holmes had said, come up to the slalom at Marble Hill. Just met him in the city. Actually, I started with the CTI Courier back then.
Because he was a courier as well. Matt
No,
Holmes
was
was
a
a
courier
courier.
too.
And just started with Beachy, who hooked me up, Simon Beach, the fastest man in the city, hooked me up with a job with CTI and ran into Holmes in the street.
Beachy's still there in the industry now too?
Nah, Beachy's works at, where is it? Cumberland,
Cycles?
Mitcham
Cycles.
Cumberland Cycles,
Mitcham
yeah,
Cycles.
Beachy's still there,
Mitcham
fastest man in the city. And,
Still the fastest man in the city.
Yeah.
But yeah,
up
met
Beechworth.
Holmes, and I'll go get up to Marble Hill and get some photos. Didn't actually have a bike at that stage, but just turned up with a camera and got photos, like 94, I think. All black and white, developed my own photos, had my own little darkroom
Printing on
set up.
film at this stage.
On film, didn't know what I was doing, but it was all just...
Time consuming. You've got yourself a dark room and you're developing film, like with the liquids and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
all
That's
that,
how you're
yep.
printing a photo of a
Yeah,
mountain
way
bike
back
at that stage.
Way back then, yes, when I was... I was just... Took time to do all that stuff. And
That was the only way to show a photograph of a mountain biker was the process of taking the photo, getting the film, producing it in a dark room and...
Yeah, it just... it's good to... I just had the black and white film back then, but it was good to do, but, once you moved the colour, I was just like, I just took it to the little camera shop. And, that's how we
They
went.
developed it.
Got a bag for the negatives at home, which need to be processed and put out to the people,
Dude's got
basically.
a
But then
lot
you
of
got
photos.
interested in
Lot of
sharing those
Oh.
photos, and
A lot
you
of pho-
decided to start making a little bit of a magazine.
A
or
little bit of
something, yeah?
magazine,
Tell us about that.
Yeah, Assault Magazine.
What was that called?
Assault Magazine.
When did you start that?
Let me think. 90...
Can we get an applause on that?
What year, Holloway?
94, I reckon. 94.
Just I got a note here. So the first bullet was 91. The second bullet was 92.
Okay.
So maybe 93 I started that earlier because I had photos of that
I
going
was
back.
94. I went to Thread by 94.
Yeah, but we're at the same time, so,
Yes. But there was guys before us, definitely.
But Holmes had his Abandoned magazine before that. He had a couple of mags before that.
Maybe starting around that
There
time.
was a
I don't know if
couple
there was
more
anything then.
No,
Yeah.
way before I started.
So
yeah.
Abandon came out.
Yeah.
Assault
Real
came out.
early.
But, you
Clothing.
both had your own thing
Then you
going
had the
on.
Adrenaline was coming out for all the Bruce Miller Smith
There was a lot.
editions.
So,
So
there
there's
was
heaps out there.
3
Yeah.
people writing about mountain biking in 1994 in Adelaide, South Australia. Pretty cool.
Holmes was making his like clothing as well, like and we were all
Abandoned
rocking the
shorts and the
abandoned
clothes.
clothing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it was just, it wasn't just a magazine. It was about a lifestyle, man. You know, it wasn't just riding a bike.
And
It
look how
encompassed
far he
a
kept
whole
taking that.
lot of like stuff because everyone came from different areas as well. Just you know, they might have started as a career. They met mountain bikers. You know, creative people as well. So you know, yeah, there was a lot going on, but
There's
there was
artist
no
graffiti and music.
there was no media.
Oh,
there was no media to push it. That it was full DIY shit, wasn't it? You know. And
Yeah, and it was in the heady days of the 90s, you know, it was pubs were going off, you know, before. It was just a great time
But
to
how
be
long would it take
a
to
biker
share
at
that
time,
information?
mountain biking and stuff.
You
That's
took
a
your
good question.
photos. You wrote the results.
yeah.
How long would it take to the general public could see the results from the race that was at Marble Hill? You
Well,
print the photos.
yours
You
are
print the
pretty-
paper.
I gave some to bloody the adrenaline there for them to chuck in, but it was all just print media, photocopier, you know.
Staple in the corner
Yeah,
and 3
send it out
pages.
by the post and get it in the
the
mailbox.
adrenaline was pretty.
The adrenaline would
you
be
know,
there.
just slap a staple there, but yours was a bit more.
Oh, mine was a bit more-
Abandon was a bit more.
Yours was
like,
magazine-y.
presentable. You know what I mean?
Had the poster in the middle, colour poster, and you know, Zolly was on board, and we had Track Cycles there on board there for a bit.
Dude, where's the
Bone.
So where's the adrenaline? Have you got one? Have you got an assault magazine for us?
There's
No, I
probably
haven't.
some out there in the box. And look, we'll get better at this, and I'll have some screenshots that we'll be able to bring stuff up. Like we'll definitely do this again. Like I don't know, it feels like we've been a minute, and we could probably keep gibbering and jabbering on. Dan gets the hang of his Couriers. Everyone loves the sound of my voice. See? Sacrifice.
Hey, oh, sorry.
Where are we going? Adrenaline, the Inside Line Mountain Bike Club. What are some of your earliest memories? The personalities, not necessarily the events. Some of the people, some of the other people that really were there at the start. Who it comes to mind, boys?
Luke Radnor's mum.
Mad Mick.
Maxine
the
with the
Radnor
Radnor
mix.
mix.
Oh, the
Mad
Radnor
Mick.
mix. Oh, Mad
Yeah.
Mick.
Oh,
and the
what are you
transit.
doing?
Oh, the transit.
Joffa.
Fanetis, yes.
Yeah.
That
Gillen.
slug.
Trav.
Oh, big
And it
Red
wasn't
Eye
like the racing that it was you were
Wallonga
racing.
Hill,
So the
you
people
know.
that won were kind of they're the win. You know those people, but there was the personalities were equally as important. Yeah.
There was a lot of crew in there that weren't getting the podiums,
Oh, just
you know, but
Just helping.
they were like hard riders.
Dutch corner at Kersbrook, you know. A bit of a blaze up in the corner, and everyone would come through.
Don't know if you'd get away
mean,
with that
Oh
anymore.
yeah, the
Through the
work
cloud.
that cloud,
the Dutch
Yeah.
corner.
maintaining
corners,
the
mate.
cloud so that
There was nothing
the
like
right rider could get toasted.
And okay, give us a reference.
Dazzle,
kids, kids
Dazzle.
turn off, but there was a time when you could ride down a mountain bike track, and there would be a certain corner that would be, in all essence, Dutched out in a cloud
waiting for our favourite rider,
for our favourite rider to get.
Lee Sadler,
Definitely, if you knew who was
Jonathan
coming.
Gillen.
Yes.
Come on
There's
down.
another one.
Fun times.
You know,
Fun times.
look, I will say this: like back then, right at the very early days, yeah, you know, it was a bunch of dudes, you know, like kind of mid-20s, early 20s to kind of late 20s, and you know, our parents weren't taking us there. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if anyone's parents were taking them there. Well, like we used to literally, I'd leave my house in Prospect and I'd ride to the city, and then I'd ride to Waterfall Gully, and then I'd meet the crew, and then we'd ride up to Marble Hill, and then we would race the slalom, and then we would finish up, and we would
Ride
ride
back
to
home.
Morialda or Moores Road, down Horsenals, or you know, like it was a full day mission.
Moores Road. Okay, switch us back to
Yeah.
early. Okay, before there was races.
And then
before,
people got fans, Ollie.
We
It was
well,
like, yes.
you had a couple of races, so you had a track. Where would you ride your downhill mountain bike. In 1994, where could you ride your mountain bike? What was fun?
Mount Lofty,
Waterfalls.
winter track.
The winter track, which is still there in all its glory. The jumps
2.0.
aren't as big anymore. Bluestones, aka the Beaumont Death Jumps,
Oh, the Death
which
Jumps.
is Mount Osmond,
Yeah.
where
Short
there's
and
now the
sweet.
single track that kind of cuts across. We used to just that was the hill.
Bomb the fire road.
But there was another one, the
Nasty.
Marble Hill Ruins.
Yeah, please.
If you're talking about like uber steep and just brutal, man.
Chambers Gully, what's the one to the right with the steep water bars?
Like the
You had
Chambers
the,
Gully jump track.
Yeah, the
Nilly.
Chambers, what it was, wasn't it?
The
Chambers
Nilly
Gully.
track.
And it
No
had,
one,
Pioneer
a mount-
Women's.
had the dump
A
track,
mountain
which went up
bike-
the guts.
a mountain biker hadn't
Dude.
cut any tracks
Nah.
yet. This was, you were just riding
Yeah.
what was in
Fire
front
roads.
of you.
Yeah,
And
walking
you found
trails.
what was in
Walking
front of you and
trails.
you rode it.
So fire trails and walking trails. So the number one spot to hit was obviously closest, which was Clearland and Mount Lofty, right?
Gallagher,
So
few.
now the funny thing about that shit is the fact that I learned the hard way that back then there was no riding. It was just not going to happen, right? And if you got busted by the rangers,
The
you were going to
rangers.
get,
Oh.
aka the rangers,
Oh, the rangers.
you were going to get done, all right? Because it was no go, right? You were going to get prosecuted or something, right? And these dudes were out for blood. I'm not shitting you. Like, we're riding up Chambers Gully. Next minute we hear a four-wheel drive coming and we're like, oh shit, Rangers, we better turn around. And they are flooring it after us. It's like a full-blown, like, we're going to get them.
Fully. Like recently planted
They had
shrubs
to
are
like
getting
unlock
mowed.
the gates. We got a head start on them, you know what I mean? But, man.
They wanted to catch you.
For
Big
real,
time.
like
There.
you couldn't ride past
Rent-a-cop.
the ranger's house. Like it was a head ranger that lived at the top of Cleveland. Crazy shit like that, you know. But where else were we going to ride? Horsenals, Morialta. It was all your kind of national parks. That's what it was. There was no cut track.
Yeah.
And I mean, we were riding those tracks. Like Winter Track was like a classic, you know, up Chambers, down Winter, you know, and then or Wine Shanty
Jetsons.
to Chambers Jump Track. But
Ewok.
that was pretty much it, you know. Like we would do that before we started racing. Like we were definitely doing those tracks before there was actual races.
Andos.
And then races started. Maybe, do you want to check that camera over there for me?
Yeah.
Oh, downhill racing started at Marble Hill with. Do you know how the button push? Do you know what to do that one? And the record.
Walunga.
Does it turn red? Well, we're just composing it. And the red record button. You got it?
Wait a sec.
It's not coming up.
Nate's just calling me for the bedtime call. I'm just gonna
Bring him in. Podcast him in.
I'm just gonna have a little chat with Nate.
Look out. Time out. Wait, hold it. Shaka line.
Let's get a positive frequency happening in this room. I say room loosely. Obviously,
Get on down there right now.
We're back. This is a schmozzle.
Get on right down there right now. Get your women down there. Get your children.
This
Get
is
everyone.
a schmozzle. All right, hang on. We just had a break. There's lots of stuff going on, but let me just draw us back to the fact that Dan has bought some incredible stuff, and Rick has as well. We have some tools on the table here. Can you turn that music down? That's like, yeah. God. What have you brought with us here? Let me turn this camera on.
Oh, my old
Trying to
man
record
ears
this.
can't handle the loud music.
Something there.
I didn't bring any photos with me. I couldn't find them, and I kind of thought it was a little bit strange for photos. Maybe I could.
What's the voice? So you
Hey.
and then I give the robot voice. And back to you, Dan.
Anyway, Dan's disappeared. I cannot see
I felt
him,
so
Mum.
insecure I had to bring my own microphone as well.
recording. All right, Dan.
Yes.
What have you brought with us here? Tell us.
Brought with me, I did bring a bunch of souvenirs from various alley cats put on by the Lopez dynasty.
Dude, what's an alley cat?
Okay, so an alley cat is a simulation of a work day as a bike messenger jammed into an hour. You get a
Example?
list, a manifest of maybe 12 addresses. You got to go to each of these addresses. They can be utilizing well-thrashed
Hang
trade
on.
routes.
Like, you've jumped into it. You know what you're talking about.
Yep.
But pretend
Stop me.
I'm a regular person.
Some schlub.
You're talking about an alley cat.
Schlub.
We're talking about bicycle couriers
Yeah.
riding through the CBD, and they could be any country, any city around the world.
Like
you have bicycle
maniacs.
couriers.
Yep, straight up.
You are
Happening.
there. Your job is to deliver packages and parcels as quickly and efficiently as possible.
Yeah.
That's
Bet.
your job.
Yeah.
But outside of that, the group of you create events to have little races amongst yourselves.
Yeah.
Because it's a fam.
It's
not a job.
It's a social celebration of being a bike messenger, flying through traffic, full tilt, together, moving as one, and having a camaraderie, flying through traffic, pushing envelopes in not just your workplace, but also what you do socially. So, where just it's not anything about bragging rights. If you lose, win, so what? It's just about like getting amongst it. So we put on these.
Did you say
alley
lose
cats.
wind?
Yeah, if you lose wind, that's fine too. And when we have
Also known
the
as
regular
flatulence.
celebrations, maybe at the end of the year, it's like a important alley cat that people go to, and then
That's
you
right.
know, when we have these alley cats, they usually have a certain flavor. This one
Not again.
was
Tell us about the flavours,
Ghetto
dude.
Bike Party. That was just sponsored by all these people.
What do you do with these things, though?
It was great. Well, these things are spoke cards. You put them in your wheels in between the spokes. And then you earn that. The only way you can get them is by doing the alley cat. And
Hang on.
Yeah.
Is that like the alley cat is a whole event? Like it's a Sunday? When does the alley cat event happen? Explain it.
usually on a Friday night. Rarely it has happened on a Saturday, but it's too much hassle. You have to go back into town. It's usually just after work, a big celebration of riding. And so...
Hey, yo, how about this? Maybe you could link down in the description,
I'm learning
right?
about that. Yeah.
You put a link down in the description of, and I'll link you to my YouTube channel, which has a whole bunch of alley cat races filmed with a helmet cam that I did. Alright?
Fully.
New
Happening.
York, Melbourne, Adelaide, all kinds of shit. But it's a good
No, I know.
example. It's a
Dan
good
Day
example of that.
Used to do a lot of this sort of stuff. And so these cards here, these are
Spoke
rare.
cards.
Are they
Yeah.
rare?
Yeah, totally.
Collectibles, man.
It's only something that you can really earn by doing the alley cat. Maybe if you're involved, you can score one as well. But yeah, we had...
How many of these cards would be available in one event?
Only one.
Only
Yeah,
one.
Yeah. And, the Lopez dynasty puts on a bunch of alley cats over the years, and then that turns into getting popular for interstaters as well. And then we start on putting the Cycle Messenger World Championships. So, first of all, we hear about these Cycle Messenger World Championships. First one happened in Berlin.
Whoa.
Then, like, maybe second in New York or something like that. And you look it up, and we'd heard about it, but we,
Worldwide,
once
son.
again, we're not really interested in being organised or commodified in any way. And then when we hear about the Australasian Cycle Messenger Championships in 1999 in Melbourne, we're like, all right, well, maybe we should go over for it. And then I did, and we got there, and there was like 1,000 people on a Saturday just milling
back.
around
So
at
hang on.
all Couriers.
Yeah,
Say
99.
again.
Or ex-Couriers, 99 in Melbourne, the Australasian Cycle Messenger Championships. We heard about them through Dean Walrus, and
The
he
Walrus.
was saying we should go there. He definitely went there because he'd done a stint in Europe, and he was like all about it and was telling us our track bike culture was really taking off, and without any available foot retention, we were apprehensive about doing that, but slowly we found some and did that, and then the street track discipline became dominant, riding track bike
Melbourne
on the street.
was very, from my knowledge, Melbourne was a hard career scene. A lot of guys died. A lot of guys died careering in Melbourne, yeah?
Yeah,
Like, it was a
but
heavy...
I know. I mean, as far as I know. I mean, I careered there for 6 years.
there
There was
there's all
fatalities
types of
there
people.
through the industry.
Yeah, but there's all
Not
types
while I
of
was
people.
there.
And when you're in Melbourne, it's a lot more grim. It's not as happy as Adelaide. There's not as much sunshine.
It's very grim.
So there's a whole because the
Go the Tigers.
courier world is often filled with a lot of people who don't fit into the normal 9 to 5 job. There are all sorts of people as couriers. So in Melbourne, when over winter, and it's just like not the nicest place.
Yeah, man. I
It's a lot
followed.
bigger.
I
Way
followed
bigger than
I
that
followed the leader, the living legend,
Legsy.
Matt Holmes. I followed him there. He was a courier in Melbourne before I was, but I think by the time I got there, he'd already moved to Sydney, which was 2002 when I moved there. Yeah, I mean, going
So
from
this is a fair way. We're well into the mountain bike scene, but that's the mountain bike scene. We're talking about the courier scene. So you guys are representing that scene, and you're still like Dan. You're still couriering today.
Yeah, full tilt. And if you need a courier, we do the whole planet. Take pride in my work. dancourier.com. So
The whole planet.
if you wanted
give
to,
it up, man. How many decades? 2 and counting.
how many veterans are out there pedaling?
That's
Car9.
word up.
Car9.
Big up, Craigie.
Yeah, crazy.
So, yeah, but what was the question?
You've been couriering. You're still couriering today. You're still
Yes.
currently a courier. Like
Yes.
when did you start?
He's the
What
diehard,
year?
man.
1988. And
the
it is
diehard.
2024.
What a great year, Dan.
Is
It's one of
there-
my
He's the
favourite
fucking
years.
diehard,
Is
man.
there anyone in the courier scene more OG than you?
Car9,
No, let's not think about that. But yeah, Craigie is
Oh, it's not a
always.
competition.
We're not about that shit.
No, it doesn't really matter.
No, it's not
Car9. Yeah.
I wouldn't. No, to me,
No,
I think
there
it's a place
isn't.
of pride.
No, there
I'm,
isn't.
I'm
No, there
coming
isn't.
from this
You're right.
with a place of pride.
For real.
I assume that, like, you are the grandmaster of this.
Dan's been doing it the longest.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I want an action job. I don't want to be subjugated. I want to get bored. Like, there's, the money is piddly, but like way below award wage, but the adventure is always there. Like, today was boom, like so much action, but I probably
I saw him. You should have seen him. He was
Didn't
just,
have
oh my God, he's
that
so
much
stylish
coin.
through traffic.
it was just like, yeah, it's good action, but not much brain work.
But you would have such familiarity with
Yeah.
businesses, with people. They would
That's it.
trust you
Yeah.
immensely
Well-
to deliver what you
Yeah,
what
that's
you do.
when
What up?
in 2013 I started dancourier.com because it was a situation where I already had been doing jobs for friends for cash for at least 10 years, probably longer, and then all of them were saying, well, if you went official and gave us an invoice, then we could actually recommend you to some other clients. And I was like, nah. But then I did the business course with the niece, and bang, suddenly dancourier.com was born with the help of my mentor, Blaine, from Cargo and Couriers in Melbourne. And he instilled in me the energy to just, stride forth and do it. And,
Props.
then when he gave me that energy, and it was evident that, I mean, the courier companies were already asking for me in particular because they knew that I took pride in my work and I would get it there, whereas a lot of the disposable workforce as a bike messenger in the bike messenger game, often is, you never know whether the package is actually going to get there. So there would be disappearing packages, but not when they used me. So then I was like, all right, I'm going to bank on this and make dancourier.com, and you know the rest.
No, so okay, sweet. Like, I'm useless at the in description below, blah blah blah. But if you could give yourself a plug, a promotion, like how would people? Someone needs your services. Here's your chance to tell them what
link
can
in
they
the
do.
description.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm useless at that.
Not
Tell
anymore.
me how to do it.
Yeah, we are ecologically sustainable.
But how do they find you?
Just look up dancourier.com on the interwebs, or hit the link in the description.
Hit the link in the description. We're going to work out how to link in the description, everybody.
Is
this
there a
is
link?
going to be. There will be a link. Well, there might not
Yeah.
be.
No,
but hopefully there will be. Is there a link in the description?
Eventually, we will get to a point where you can go like, you
Shady
can just hit the
idea,
link
right?
up here, and it'll just appear.
Point to it. When we have a proper studio with camera people
When we're not in
running
the car
around.
park in Mona Para.
This is fucking proper, bro. Come on. Sorry for profanities. But this is fucking proper, bro.
Well, okay, so let's just switch across.
Where's the light gone?
and see.
Stop it.
Here, give me that.
Oh,
Sacrifice.
Tell me a story. Somebody start another conversation.
Yeah, man, I
about it.
remember I was telling Leith this story the other day. He didn't really remember, but I recall I was trying to refresh his memory about the time I went to his house. I was the only kid with the license. So he was like, yo, my mum's got a car. I was like, cool, there's a race at Marble Hill. We're going, all right? You can drive the 1975 Galant to Marble Hill. All right, sweet. But we got to go pick up Nugsy at Hallett Cove first. Yeah.
he's
So we
good for
drove up to
nothing.
Hallett Cove. There we are. We pick up Nugsy, and then I went to. We piled the car, bikes in the car, and I went to take off. And this car just like drove past us like at breakneck speed. Yeah, exactly. And they were like, dude, are you going to get us to Marble Hill? I was like, yeah. Yeah, so we got to Marble Hill anyway. It was all good. So, but another one about the old, I don't know if you remember this one. One Tree Hill, dual slalom. That's testing memories, yeah?
One Tree Hill slalom.
So it's not
Yeah.
out north.
Yeah, so I remember driving out there with...
Not
Like
Gawler, not
Sadler.
Gawler, not Gawler
No,
slalom.
it was at One Tree Hill. That's what it was.
Oh,
I
part of
just
the
remember
cross
that.
country, part of the Adelaide Mountainbike Club used to run events.
So I got
no?
some photos from it, right? There was like, the usual suspects. I know
yes.
Sadler Potts and Stomo and Dazzle. I think Safari were there.
Yeah.
Angus.
Sam Roberts. Yeah, it was a really early dual slalom. I mean, it must have been after Marble Hill
down.
had been initiated, and someone was like, "All right, cool. Well, let's do another dual slalom somewhere
I
else."
missed that one, I reckon.
So yeah, how about that? That's just one of those things.
You mentioned someone in there, Dazzle.
Papa
Who's
Smith.
got a Dazzle story? Darren Moore. Is he not one of the original godfathers of the downhill mountain bike scene in Adelaide? Have you
Well-
boys got a Dazzle story?
In Canberra, Ollie, I blew up one of his moccasins once. Because we're going for a mini trip down to Fishwick there, pal, and got the
Firecrackers.
we got the firecrackers from the third drawer, and there was a bit of a cracker off between me, Marshy, and old Papa Smurf there, and threw one through the bathroom window while I was in the shower, and it landed in his moccasin and blew it apart.
That's beautiful.
It was a great day.
We're talking about fireworks and Darren Moore. But
A custodian of fireworks, some might say.
who were some of the other people in the early days of the Adelaide. We've gone from couriering, and we're branching into now. We're kind of turning into mountain biking, and it's kind of taken its own legs. Who are some of the people coming into those
Pre-Cairns
formative years?
96.
Yeah, 95, 96-ish, 94, 95, 96. Who are some of those people leading the helm, boys?
Oh, we had the rapscallion couriers. Everyone knew all the mountain biking couriers. They're all, Whitlocks and the Marshes. Yourself,
Well, they turned
Zolly.
into mountain bikers, but there was other guys. Holmes, Gary Patterson.
Holmes was like prevalent, big time. Gary Patterson,
Pato,
obviously.
of course. Yep.
Who else? I mean, I'm trying to think who was actually putting on the races. I
Who
mean,
did
from
it?
my memory, it was Gary Patterson. Pretty much, he took the helm at a certain point.
And when you think back of it, one person can't make an event. How did it happen?
It's very different. Like, I've fortunately been able to see what it's like because my son started racing. So I went out to the races, in the last few years. And the participation is immense. Like, the parental participation is awesome, right? Back then, 0. Okay, so, you had to have people who were kind of, all right, we drove up here to see the race, or we drove the guys up here.
Sorry, I might have to say, Dan, I think that that's annoying. Okay, yeah.
So,
Sorry.
yeah, people would be driving up there. You'd be like, I guess they were the marshals. But you know what? Along a racetrack, I mean, what?
Who ran the event?
Were there marshals? There was like one or
did we do
two,
it?
maybe, if that.
Well, yeah, it does.
Were
someone
you
starting
guys?
it.
Were you
Doesn't matter
guys
for a
there at the first downhills? You guys?
Wollonga,
Yeah, man.
Wollonga, the
Well,
Fire
no,
Road.
Marble Hill.
Yeah,
Wollonga. Here we go. We're coming up
Wollonga.
to
The Fire Road.
Inside Line 30-year
Fire Road.
anniversary.
The Fire Road
9th
was the first
of
downhill, wasn't it?
November. So here's a shout out if you're listening. If you've
How's
listened, if you've put up with us for this long,
You can do it more.
Props,
You
man.
can do it more.
You are amazing.
I reckon I would have switched off a while ago, but I'm still here.
Hey, man, if you can get...
I switched off hours ago. So, yeah.
No,
Oh,
the
Carl's-
9th, the
Hey, I
9th
watched
of
all of
November.
them.
9th of November. Okay.
Yeah, but that's one of the best hills we've got in Adelaide. Wollonga
He's
Hill.
got some
Wollonga Hill, 9th of in 30
new
years.
info.
Come down. Like they've got a slalom event. We're going to have a little jump comp. There's going to be a bit of fun. They're going to have a bonfire that night.
Dude.
Drive to
Bonnie.
Wollonga, hang out, catch up with the old mates. Like there's all the old, Jamie's trying to get a heap of the old crew to get together. Benny A and Shane.
Oh, God.
Shane Rogers, ex Inside Line Club president. They've been out there with the excavators on the weekend. They're
Ben
building
Anderson.
a little slalom track. They're talking about
Hollywood.
They're talking about
Studio Stuntman. The Fire Road.
for the outside guys.
That shit.
Again.
Yeah, man.
Craig Felix launching into a paddock coming near you next week. Week.
Like, well, we can take the Mickey. Like, yeah,
Ed
go down.
Voko's making a special guest appearance for
I
that
think
one.
Ed's going to be there. I think everyone's going to be there. So
Wojak disappearing into the
if you-
mulberry bushes.
if you're older than 40 and you ride a mountain bike in Adelaide, I think you should go to Wollonga on the 9th of November and go and check out
That
this
sounds
thing and
sick.
catch up with some mates.
That
you know,
sounds sick.
Oh, it's going to
Catch
be
up with
madness.
mates.
It's going to be madness. It's a great
It's
track.
gonna be
It's
ill.
fast. It's just one of the classics. Adelaide's best hill, I reckon.
Was it the first race down that hill? It was pissing down with rain that weekend, wasn't
on
it?
that fire road?
If I'm not mistaken. Now, I didn't race, but I do recall rocking up to the race and seeing Joff had just come down from a run. And it's the fire road, obviously, so we're just driving up it. And, I mean, you'd never seen anyone covered in more mud.
we're talking Louds Hill Road.
It was brutal, man.
People now know Wollonga Hill as the paddock, the grassy paddock, but at the start it was just the road. It was just the fire road, and that's kind of where
And it had the
that was
hairpin in the
Adelaide's
middle.
longest downhill.
That was crazy.
That was it. You know,
It was.
that was about as as full on as it
That
got.
was like hitting lofty runs. That was
two
it.
bends.
Fire roads.
Yeah,
That was it.
pretty
Two
much.
bends.
And
Two
they were
bends.
lethal
Yes.
if you got them too fast.
Yeah, I put people in hospital.
Chambers Gully jump track.
It
Oh,
was going to be Chinaman's Hut
if you fuck that up,
revisited.
you're in the bushes and in pain, basically.
All right, you boys have ridden trails in Adelaide for a long time. What would be a good if you were going for just a Sunday ride with your mates? What little loop would you do? Well, you're in the city. Okay, we meet in the city somewhere, the parklands. Let's do a loop of the hills. What would be a good loop? Tell us.
I'll start off. We'll go
Jeebus.
up maybe Waterfall Gully Road, go off. Why not? Winter 2.0, get up there, then get the Stoob Trail all the way to the summit. Have a look out. Then from Summit, go across to Belair, go down the what's that track with
The fence line divorce track, some might call it.
Fence line's tough at the minute.
with
Those
lots of
rutted.
exposed rut section.
Craftwork, you know that one, Rob.
What was that? But yeah, over to you with the
Up to Belair, yeah, that way.
from Belair. Where are you going from there?
Down.
That's 30k. That's a
down
30k
through,
loop. So what you've just described then,
Down
Dan?
through Dingles or something. Eden Hills drop in, the
Yeah.
train station there, little single track. There's so many around.
I like Chambers,
You can't go wrong, pal.
Stoop, Summit, Stoop, Chinaman's, Pioneer Women's, Bluestones,
Yed Blade.
you know.
Your best. So that's your best route up to Lofty.
Yeah.
What's your bet? That's your best route up there. You reckon?
It's the perfect ride,
Yeah, I reckon
you know what I mean?
from
It's good
like
fun.
Winter 2.0 to Stoob, yeah. I mean,
Can't go
unless
wrong.
you want to go out to Fox Creek with the masses or, maybe go out to Mount Bold now that Gate 47's legal. Crowfoot's done a bit of work over there on the weekend. and
Has he now?
Yep, camped out there, said the Gate 47 is glorious and official, so there's not going to be any rangers trying to hunt you down to get some ID off you.
The beauty is those, the hills for us have always been so close, you know.
We're pretty
I
lucky.
mean, pretty much wherever you live, even like going down south, you're set.
Yep.
You know, you've just got hills to ride. So in Adelaide, I think we've always been quite fortunate for that. You know, in other cities, it's a distance.
It's a bit of a
It's
trek.
not just like, hey, let's just ride half an hour and we're at the hills.
Yeah.
Well,
You have to
Adelaide.
drive an hour to get to the hills.
Adelaide doesn't have huge hills, but we've produced some pretty talented, skilled riders.
Yeah, definitely.
Through the ranks.
Hell yeah.
Why do you think that happens?
Just the access to the hills, I reckon, Zol.
Yeah, they're so
easy.
close.
So close. People can practice, go to Horse Nils, do 7 minutes, do Molyneux, do whatever.
The amount of tracks as
Hit
well these
tracks.
days.
Now it's runs, like do the
Forget
pretty
about it.
corner, like Morialty, that Morialty, a pretty corner track. Everyone's got access now. Get a ute, load of blokes, off we go. Everyone does runs.
Where do you think?
Easy.
Okay, so you guys saw mountain biking come from courier car park runs to riding a downhill down Lofty or Fox Creek and all the rest of it. And then at the far end now, you got like something like Red Bull Rampage. Did you ever see
Damn.
anything like that
Yes.
30 years ago?
I saw
that
Dan
shit
doing it.
Dude, that shit fucking blows my mind. I mean, every year it's just goes to another level.
Yeah.
Well,
For someone who, for people our age who saw, who were involved in it when they were, teenagers, to think, because just to throw back to the earlier conversation, we grew up on Mammoth Mountain. Dudes going, full tilt down a straight hill almost.
Fire road,
just
basically.
fire roads, right?
Few water bars.
Full on fast. I mean, I know it's developed a lot since then, and crazy shit has happened.
People died
but,
on that mountain, hey, doing that fire
You
road.
know.
It's just like going 80 k's per hour on a fire road and just hitting this
It's
corner
nuts
wrong.
these days, man.
Whooshka, off you go.
To see someone to see what they do, I think even Red Bull Rampage, if you look back 10 years ago, it's just, if you compared it to now, they're kind of, it's almost outdated. That they've just, I'm like, what the fuck? Doesn't everyone just look at that shit and just go, what the fuck?
Yeah, I've had enough of your electronic games there, Dan.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, some
Like
of the
people look at
launches
that, like people,
yeah.
experienced riders, good riders, novice riders, you know, people that have been riding forever, they just look at that shit and they go, what the fuck? And then you find out it's like a 17, 18, 19-year-old. And you're like, man, that is incredible.
Because they started so young.
And the
They
beautiful
saw-
thing is that the footage now is so good as well. It's
Yeah.
in 4 or 8K, you know, helmet cams. Just, man,
Yeah.
you really get to feel it.
Is it? Well,
Then we go
is
back
it
to
better
the
than what
days
it
of
was when we did it?
some sort of guy volatile vision.
Look, man, I mean, you know, if,
Video 8 camera. Oh God, man.
No, like is
Technology.
the heart is the heart. I mean, I don't know.
Is it?
I'm not in it. I'm not in the mountain bike downhills. Like, well, we had our time in that, and we've
Yeah.
grown out of it. We've grown past it. But it was a pretty cool time to
Bloody oath, man.
to be involved, especially in Adelaide. Like, it was such a cool hub, such a cool community. We were all together, music, riding,
100%.
arts,
We're
Just
this,
doing,
that,
trips into
graffiti,
states,
couriers,
all,
blah blah blah. You know,
all those Buller beauties, Eildons, Canberras,
we all
the
came together. If
Threadbows.
something was on, Gump Track. There you go. Throw that in there.
Uh-oh.
but that,
What a ramshackle house.
that's the
Gum
thing,
track.
man.
Uh-oh.
Tell us something.
Oh, jeez. Tell you what.
I don't want to get full on nostalgic, but yes, you know, we lived in that era, so we had the lack of technology, but what we lacked in technology, we had more in like social kind of communication and connection.
No
you know what
doubt.
I'm saying?
No
like
doubt.
these days, that does not exist. Maybe in the same way. You know what I mean? Like, yes, it still exists, but it's not that same. It's not the same.
Like, everyone did their little jump runs to that track, but Wild Man doing it backwards on Timmy Mott's scooter. That was a highlight. It was killer. Just the dust, the mayhem, the lighting.
But
we
it was
lit up
everyone,
the track.
everyone,
Oh, it
knew,
was
and
killer
everyone
night.
knew everyone, didn't they?
Pretty
Oh,
much.
bloody oath, man. From
If
Courier
there's
to
a-
mountain
You know,
biking, it all crossed over.
I was thinking a good time was just jumping at Dingles for the day, and
Oh, yep.
after that, everyone migrated back to your crib. I don't know. Maybe you were living with Marshy.
We were at Marsha, yes,
Yeah.
like early
Yeah.
days. Yes.
So we went back
yeah.
to your crib, and you just
hang out.
happened to have Hammer Time, and everyone sat down and watched Hammer Time for the first time, dude. Dude, that shit
the
was
bee.
nuts, man.
That
There,
was-
there had to be like about at least 20,
That
25
was
people
very
in your
Yeah.
lounge room watching that.
The newest VHS.
And everyone was just like glued to the TV, like we'd never seen that shit before. That was mind blowing. Like
Big-
Hammer Time, groundbreaking.
The big fat back, 62-inch TV. Ooh.
That was sick, you know, like
Huge.
Fuzzy in like Moab,
Oh, man.
and
Fuzzy
just
hole.
doing some crazy ass shit on the
Seeing
mountain
all
bike.
that stuff and
All
getting
those old
inspired and but some of the talent. Okay, tell us some of the talent. Like we've talked about some of the personalities. Some of the talent in bike ride, BMX, mountain bike, doesn't matter.
Well, you know,
Talent. Tell us.
I lived with the bloke for years, and Marshy's got to be number one for me. And, you know, Matt West for his sideways looseness versus the brother David, who was so smooth and razor sharp. Yatesy, yourself, Solly. All of you blokes were just, you know, Wildmans, the Felixes. There's heaps of blokes. You could just keep reeling them off. The Whitlocks.
Sadler.
The Sadler on his day could rail. Everyone was just killer to watch and to get good photos of. They're just awesome.
Because that was
action.
your perspective. You wanted to get a good photo.
They're just good fast riders, man. And I tried to emulate. You know, I'd be
It's just natural.
just
Natural riders,
smooth.
Good balance.
And we had a lot of them.
Who
Like,
else?
you've
I'm just so
rattled
many
off
names. I
The
could,
BMXers, you go into your Grosses and your Bazans.
oh,
Carlson.
the Carlson. I remember the day he broke his
Jesse.
did his ankle at that Marion jump comp.
Is there? Okay, here we go. Here
Marshy
we go.
when he did his knee down at Goa. Damn.
How do I make it? Is there a better BMX rider in Adelaide than Jesse Carlson?
No, sir.
Negative.
JC.
Be pretty hard pressed to find a name.
Pelican
Never.
Wishes.
I mean, look, there's new generations. Like,
was the Coaster
maybe
King?
now, but Mark Gregorov.
Gregorov.
There was, and again, the two of them.
Jesse
They were
Carlson's
just
king.
brilliant. Jesse, I can't
The
wait to have you on here.
Bazans, all the Terry.
Jesse was just all time, wasn't he?
Sicko.
Was he not? Racing, tricks.
Oh, he was. Remember, he
I like
Alex
that guy. His name's Jonathan Gillen.
Oh,
Johnny.
Finettis.
He's one of my personal favourites. You might know him as Johnny Ragdoll.
Yes.
I reckon I've got some footage I might be able to overlay on this
I
clip.
think so. I think
Yes.
so.
got some good
Eating
photos of
some
him.
dirt at the Marble Hill Slalom,
Some
hopefully.
lycra shorts.
Oh man, but he was a go-getter, man. He
Dude.
was.
Not only good on the downhill, but also good on the uphill. We're riding
Oh
up
yeah, he's a grunter for sure.
Corkscrew Road on a 52
Yeah,
tooth. Okay, so
That's the
no
thing,
fucking
though.
around, man.
That's the thing. All the downhills back in that era were just
Hardcore climbers.
grunt to the top of that hill to do that downhill was killer, and stop halfway and have a bit of a Penelope.
You
and
had to be a climber back then, man. I don't know who the
stand
fuck.
out.
I don't know anyone. I
Grady.
don't know anyone that was getting toes or lifts to the top of the hill, man. But
That's
we
it.
were all grunters, man.
You
You
went
had
to-
to fucking get back up.
And
It
you
was
went to
brutal.
went to Wollonga and you got the first bloody lift to the top and the ute with the trailer and
It was like what hand of God type
Wow.
shit, wasn't it?
Of God.
this is hand
What?
of
A
God.
toe to
God.
the top of the mountain.
It's like having an e-bike before e-bikes were around.
I remember ATO.
I remember
Yeah.
there was this one courier, this kid, and he rocked up to the standby spot, the ATO,
Oh,
and he was smoking a cigar, and he was like this tiny junior little kid, and we were just like, what? And so his name, of course, was Cigars. And I remember on a Friday night after
Cigars.
car parks, and then getting chased by the bike cops, and then there's the main peloton, maybe a bunch of 6 riders, and then the bike cops, trike bops.
the trikes,
behind
the
them,
triclops,
chasing them, and then Cigars overtook. Well, he was behind, so he overtook the bike cops to get with the main pelly. I'll never forget that. That gained him a whole bunch of points, and then of course,
There you go, kid. You got your props.
Then we went down the North
One
Terrace,
gold
and then
star.
went down the uni steps, and that was the end of anybody chasing us.
Oh, Timmy Mott was always a good one for losing the cops when
Beeline
he
to the
didn't.
uni steps.
All right, so we've talked a lot about what you boys used to do. What are all of you doing today? Well, we've a little bit down what Dan's doing today, but back to you, Rick. What are you doing with yourself today? It's
guess what?
2024.
Yeah,
Where are you at?
2024. I'm still a courier, but I drive a van. I'm not. No, I'm no longer a 2-wheeled courier. I drive 4 wheels, and pretty much still doing parcels to arseholes, and it's the same shit, different vehicles, son.
That's your day job, but I'm sure you've got a creative talent in the background. What else do you do with yourself?
Nah,
I've seen some of your stuff on the internet.
Yeah, I do art. I'm an artist. I've always been interested in art. I'm a creative fellow. I do some weird shit here and there. I might do some painting or some drawing, and
I've seen you've been doing some AI stuff, like you're morphing images. Like
I've been
you're
doing
pushing
AI stuff.
out.
I'm like,
What are you doing with
I'm
that?
very interested in. I like this. I like new technology. You know what I mean? I'm not scared of it. I just do it. It's as an extension of being a creative person. I just see a new, interesting, creative, means to do something, and it's new and it's different, and I like it. You know, I enjoy doing it, and even if I'm not, I'm still gonna give it a shot anyway.
I see. I mean, you've got logos and designs. You're into graffiti art, street art, and then new creative social AI art. Is that every day? Like every day you come home and you want to create something?
I just do it 24/7 pretty much, you know what I mean? Whenever I'm awake, I just do that shit. If I'm at work, I don't care. I just do it. You know, these days you have the ability of, mobility. So, you know, you don't have to wait till you get home. You know, if you've got an idea, you can just get that shit down. I mean, I've got simplified versions on a phone that you can have a better version on an iPad, which, you know, translates to a computer.
You're creating, like, people morph into clouds and smoke and all this sort of stuff. What are you using to do that?
It's just... what
applications? What
I use
programs?
Runway, which is, you know, it's huge. It's not a secret. Runway. Runway ML. I think it's runway.ml is the URL. It's an interesting way to just explore visual dynamics. You know what I mean? Like I used another one called Couriers as well, which is another interesting AI tool for creatives to use. And you know, you're not cheating. Anyone who thinks you're cheating, you're not. You know, it takes, you know, you could get two different people, one that's not artistic and one that is, and they're going to create something fucking way better than that person, all right? I just guarantee it. But at the same time, you never know what might happen.
But that's using the app. You've got your own creative. It starts with you first.
Yeah, look, essentially you need to be a creative. If you've got a creative mind, you will enjoy it. You will have fun with it, and it'll you know, it'll blossom. I think.
You've never stopped. You've never stopped.
I'm just interested in new shit, and I wanna push that, and that's the newest shit that's going on at the moment. So yeah, I want to dabble in that.
He's always had little bits around the city.
But Holloway, you were equally as creative back in the day.
Who?
Are you still you?
Me, yes.
With all your assault magazines, all your stuff.
Yes.
If you had this technology at your fingertips today, like, are you still keen to do that creative stuff?
Yes.
Yes. What are you going to do with it next?
Well, I'm going to definitely, it is all a bit of mind hurdles, Ollie.
Mind hurdle.
Yes.
Well, maybe tonight's the night you can get over that mind hurdle.
Well, I just need to... I've got so many photo negatives to scan and chuck on a website and get it cranking out there to the people.
Do it.
Because there's going to be so many profanities, unfortunately, for everyone here involved.
There's memories as well.
Hope you guys are ready for it.
You know, this shit's going to be blowing up, man. The people are going to be asking, and
I'm
they're going to be saying, dude, we want to see that shit.
Nusses available.
Everyone has today's stuff. No
things.
one has stuff from 20, 30 years ago like you do.
Well, you do too, but it is just a sit down, do it thing, which I'm not really good with.
Hi,
At the minute.
Kevin.
At the minute.
Sir?
Not today.
Like I said,
maybe tomorrow.
The mind hurdle. I know I can do it.
Just
Arcpole.
that
But do
reminds
I
me,
want to do it?
What you said just then about the technology and, you know, in this day and age, what we can do in the palm of our hand is nuts, right? Yeah, it's scary as well because you can do bad things, but in terms of creativity, like, my God, like, you know, you pretty much got your video camera, your editing suite, your computer, everything. So, you know, like I said, you can combine it even when you're out of the house. You don't like, I remember the days like going, I cannot wait to get home to edit that shit. You know what I mean? You don't have to do that anymore. And you've got all these tools that are just right there. It's amazing, man. Like, you know, thinking like 30 years ago, you just never would imagine.
All of a sudden, we're here.
Even just someone handing you an iPad 30 years ago, you would just absolutely blow your fucking mind.
pretty much 30 years ago. We
Yeah.
did. We did.
Yes, you
man.
old bastard,
You know,
Sanchez. Oh, look at
And then
this.
all of a sudden, we're
Just
fucking
the other
here.
day.
We're just here.
Yeah, man.
And now, Dan, what are you doing next? Tell us what you're doing. You're a creative mastermind. Look at you here. What are you doing next?
Who knows? I'm just having fun with it. Like,
Sorry,
connecting
pushing
the
buttons
dots.
here, so.
If you could
Making happiness nice.
Okay, here's a little thing. When you guys were all younger, did you know what you wanted to be when you were older? Did
No.
you know? And does it matter? Did you
Pilot.
know?
Yeah,
did
we
you
were
wish? It doesn't
fighter
matter.
jets.
We were all bred to, have a career in mind, and everyone, what are you going to be when you grow up, an astronaut? So it was like, our parents and the parents had a career at IBM or, Bunnos or whatever. It was just like you didn't have such fluidity with career decisions. It was pretty much one focus. So things have totally changed, but... Yeah, you might as well be a tradie these days, people. We need tradies.
So many options out.
Time is now, man. For real.
No, but I'm asking you. Like, did you know when you were young? Did you know what you wanted to be? And if not, what do you want to be now?
Well, I was told that I was bright with computers, and we were early adopters because my grandfather was an IBM professor, and we, it was always basically written that I was going to be doing something with computers. And when Tech Park started out north, and I went and did work experience there with, CGI stuff, and it was all really interesting, but basically the grunt work was sitting in front of a screen, and that's what got me into being a bike messenger, because it was just the opposite of sitting in front of a screen, and I had
sucks the
been
energy.
sitting in front of a screen doing programming for personal pursuits for years, and it was just not something I wanted to do as a job. So I flip mode and did the absolute opposite, which is pushing parcels for assholes, and it was something that made sense, and we're still here.
It's working for you.
It's
Holloway,
good action.
you? Did you know what you wanted to be? What is there a new thing? Is there something you're going? Oh, fucking! I might want to be this now. I'm still young. I'm barely 52.
Well, yes, good question there, Zoltan. Scaffolding pays well, even though it's a grimy job at times, but met some good blokes, and I don't know, just it's a good camaraderie in the scaffolding world. We get to fart at each other, and once you get fart on, you can fart on someone else. So once that's
Those benefits
passed on through the
Package it.
youth.
We're missing out, Chudney.
No.
Yeah.
For
I
real.
don't know.
You're not selling it that well.
I recommend it. Any young Scotsman out there gets involved with scaffolding right now. The future,
If you're not
I
a
think,
Scotsman.
is... Well, get
You
this.
got some plans. You got some assault
Get
stuff.
some computer action going, and try and involve that with the house up north, and just get all of my negatives and photos out to the people. No charge. Just get them out there.
Yeah, man.
They should be free to the people, because I'm not really a money.
No.
Do
But
it, man.
person,
it's
but
time consuming.
it
It's
is,
not easy.
Got to scan the
But
negatives, but
you
it's
have a lot of history.
But it's me being a procrastinating
A lot of Polaroids.
Get
maybe
off
we'll
your
push you along
arse, dude,
tonight
and
here.
do it.
germ, some might say.
Do it.
Push you along here, Glenn. This
Come on,
is
mate.
your calling. Come on, Glenn. Get the photos.
Need to get them out
Iola.
there. It's a slug of a slog of a slug of a job.
You can do it, man.
Thank you,
Iola, what's
Ricky.
next on
Thank
your
you.
agenda?
What's
What
next?
do you got
Man,
coming
the
up?
future's a big place. I'm like hyped on every fucking day I wake up, because I know that I've got shit to do. You know what I mean? Fuck the job. I don't care about that shit. I just do it for money. All right. My prime objective is to just just create stuff, you know, just make new stuff, find out about new things, new ways of, you know,
Seeing
projecting
things.
my visions onto
Coloured
whatever
lights.
surface that may be, and you know, making music, making videos. I know it's non-stop, man. I am not gonna stop, dude. And it's like it's just started. I've thought like, you know,
Just
20
begun,
years it
gone,
started.
gone, gone,
20 years
gone,
ago it
gone,
started,
gone,
but
gone,
no,
gone.
we're gonna keep going, and I'm gonna keep doing shit, man. I'm out there and I'm hyped.
Reborn.
All right, like yeah, for real. Time
real.
is now, son.
Okay. I'm going to end this. This has been awesome. Thank you, all of you, 3 of you, for coming and hanging out and experimenting with me tonight. Now, for all of you to share a good, positive message. Someone's having a bad day. Dan,
Oh,
you've
get
had
out.
a bad day.
Oh,
what can
did
you
I?
tell that person to just go, fucking, it's okay?
Get out on a bike, if you can, in the hills, and just go for a ride and zen out. Like, perspective is key, so just like do the opposite of whatever you're doing that's hurting.
Holloway?
That's a tricky one, Zol, but just get up, be positive. And get up and do your thing and be positive. Don't be negative. Just go forth, young man.
Oh, word.
Rick?
First, I've got to give some shout outs to the zombie foot soldiers, all those trolley pushers, like Archer and fans. What's up,
dear.
Lockfoot Posse, Slow Squad, MSA, Snatch It, Grab It, last but very far from least, all the way on top, the X-Men, the Klingons, like Boom, Hip Hop, Pow, who really has inspired us, like the...
Oh, yes. Look,
Seeing them on TV, the incredible X-Men, like the
any
X-Men.
shout-outs you
What
guys would
about the
like to
chud?
give?
Is there any chud?
But still, Rick, a
Cannibalistic
positive message.
humanoid
Positive message
underground dwellers, a chud.
to someone that's not having the best of days. How do you get out? How do you get out of that bad day?
I don't know. Find someone close to you and tell them you love them. All right. That's what you need to do. All right.
Cool. That's cool. I appreciate all of you boys. Thank you very much for hanging out with me tonight. We're going to call this a wrap.
Thank you, Zoltan.
This is it.
Thank you, man.
Oh, Zorbon the Mighty.
This is cool. This is good. All in. Thank you, boys. That's a wrap.
Wrap it up. Zoe talks too much. You need one of these. The wrap it up box. Just got the same vibe.
Oh, look at that music at the end. That was a mistake.
Yeah, dog good look.
Yeah, you can use that.
Oh, the dog's
Look
here
out.
too. Oh, the dog's here.
That is the end of technology.
Good. Let's go cook dinner. I'm hungry.
Yeah, there's paws everywhere. Get